Let's pay homage to the lineage gurus. Homage to the Venerable Monk Liao Ming. Homage to Master Sakya Cheng Kong. Homage to His Holiness the 16th Karmapa. And homage to Master Dubdun Dorji. Homage to the three jewels of the altar. Homage to the main deity of the group practice this evening, Padma Kumara. Sumo, Tanten Katsu, Dubdun Siddhi, Dubdun Kama, all Dharma masters, Dharma lecturers, Dharma teachers, Dharma instructors, Dharma teaching assistants, temple and center directors, and all disciples present here and over the internet. Good evening, everyone. How do you do? These are greetings in many different languages.
Hola amigo, que quiero mucho. Sukoi, Ichiba, Kimoji, Jumi, Yabi, Pinipidi, Manga.
Now let's do the Q&A. Questions from Malaysia. Lianhua Kwanzong. Homage to the beloved Grandmaster. May I ask Grandmaster, a reincarnated Buddha Mother, Dakini, or Celestial Maiden, will they always appear in a female form, or they can also appear in male form? Thank you, Grandmaster. So the reincarnation of Buddha Mother, Dakini, or goddesses must always be in female form, or they can also be in male form. So the form of a male or female, it's been stated clearly in the Siddhigarbha Sutra. Reincarnation and appearing as male or female, that's based on your own vows or wishes. It's mentioned in the Siddhigarbha Sutra, if you despise the form or appearance of a female, and then you chant the Siddhigarbha Sutra and worship Siddhigarbha Bodhisattva, because of your own wish, not wanting to appear as a woman, then you would appear in a male form.
如果再来，他就会现男相。
So when they are reincarnated, because of their own wish, they would appear in a male form.
如果你便不说，
If
便不想说现男相，
you don't want to appear,
你自己是女相，
if you don't despise your own female form,
但你永远就会是
then
出现女相。
you will always appear in a female form.
这个转世的，
So reincarnations,
你就可以现男相。
if you don't want to be in a female form, then you can be in a male form.
便不厌恶女相，
But if you don't mind being in a female form,
只要念地藏经，
then
你转世
by chanting the Siddhikapa Sutra, your reincarnation can be
也可以当
queen or a princess.
那你觉得我不要当？
But if you don't want to be reincarnated,
空心母或天女，
if a Buddha Mother, Dakini or Goddess,
不想现女相，
the reincarnations of Buddha Mother, Dakini or Goddesses do not necessarily have to be in a female form. If you don't want to be in a female form, you can be in a male
地
form.
藏经里面，
So the answer is been stated clearly in the Siddhikapa Sutra.
地藏菩萨普天经。那么你的
So
现男相，你
if you turn the Siddhikapa Sutra and if you become a male, then you would be very handsome, tall, and big.
生长在富贵人家，
And being born in a rich family.
如果你喜欢女相，你转
But
世
if you like to be in a female form
王妃，
and incarnated as a human, then you can become a queen or a princess.
就非常的像
And then your appearance would be like a goddess.
地藏经里面
It's stated in the Siddhikapa Sutra, the form or appearance of a male or female.
所以男女相是变来变去的，
So whether it's male or female, it's ever changing, it's not fixated.
你一定会变男的。
That you have to be a male or you have to be a female.
母转世，空行母转世，
Like the reincarnation of a Buddha Mother, of a
他们都
Dakini or Goddess.
你不喜欢当女生，你就会变成男生。
And you don't like to be in a female form, then you can become a male.
完全看那个转世的意愿。
So it depends on your own wish when you're being reincarnated. It's determined by your own
喜
wish.
欢当女人，
If you like to be a female, then you become a female.
就是男人。
If you like to be a man, then you're a man.
有人讲说，我下辈子要当女人，
Some people say, I want to be a woman next life, and you become a woman.
那你想当男人，就当男人。
And you want to become a man, then you become a man.
你必须要
However,
本身的
you must to have your own merit and blessings.
那么你也有能力能够让
And
产生变
you must also have the power to transform yourself.
而不是一般人的轮回。
So it's not the regular reincarnation of ordinary people. It's stated in the Siddhikapa Sutra.
变什么你自己都可以
So however you want to be, you can decide on your own.
转世的事情呢，非常复杂。
So the matter of reincarnations is very complex and complicated, cannot be covered just by a few words.
所以这个楞严经里面有讲到2个业。
That's why in the Surangama Sutra, it talks about 2 kinds of karma. One is called the collective
因为
karma,
你有共业，
because you have the shared collective karma.
所以你一转世就到
That's why when you're reincarnated, you're born in Palestine,
因为你有共业，
because you have the shared collective
你
karma.
转世就到乌克兰，
Then you would be reincarnated in
在
Ukraine.
战争的地方。
The war zones these days, those are called the
你转世到哪一个国家是共业？
collective karma or collective shared karma.
还有一种
Whichever country you're being
业
reincarnated.
业障，
And the other kind of karma is the individual karma.
大家一起的业障，你就同样坐在一部飞机上，
So if you have the same karma, then you would be seated on the same plane. That's the collective karma.
什么叫别业？你个人做的
And
别业，
the individual karma, it's created by an
而你
individual.
能够自主。
So your reincarnation is not under your own control.
你
Unless you're a Buddha mother,
先有
a
这个
Dakini, or a goddess,
你有 power，
then you have power
传转
to be reincarnated
男
as
人，
a man or a woman. But if you're just a mundane being and you're bound by your own individual karma and your collective karma, then you cannot transform as you like.
哦，这样了解吗？
Now, do you understand?
问轮回的事情，你自己有福德因缘，
So that's a question about reincarnation.
地方去，
If you have blessings and merits and affinities, then you would be born into
低劣
a
的
place that is blessed. But if you don't have enough blessings and merits, then you would be reborn in a lowly
没有福
place
德因缘，
or affinities.
像你转世到非洲去，
Then you would be reincarnated in the poor parts of
出生他
Africa.
没有衣服穿，
That when you're
街
born,
上就是
you have no
小
clothes.
孩子都没有衣服穿，
All the
没
kids
有东西
are poor, without food
住茅
or
草，
shelter. They live in grass huts
过着很贫穷的日子。
and live a poor life.
你有福德因缘，
But if you have
比较富足的国家，
merits, blessings, and affinities, then you will be born in rather prosperous countries.
所以这个转世轮回
So, about reincarnation
事情，
is not a simple
自己
matter.
想转什么就转什么。
It's not that you want to be reincarnated as you
是
like.
空行母，
But of course, if you're Buddha Mother, Dakini, or Goddess,
至少你有一点 power，
at least you have some
愿
power.
转什么就可以转什么。
Then you can be reincarnated or transform into what you wish.
像扎基拉姆，
Like Drasilamo,
因为他有他的根气在，
because she has her spiritual root. She was Sri Devi.
所以他可以当护法神。
Therefore, she can be a protector.
有 power 可以帮助人。
And she has power to help humans to make them rich. That's why she's also a wealth deity.
因为她是吉祥天转世。
Because she's a reincarnation of Sri Devi.
有她的那个能力在。
So that's why she has that ability.
我们先你问我答，然后再讲个笑话。
We'll do the Q&A first and then now telling jokes. 新的富豪榜出来了，我很欣慰。 The new list of rich men is out, and after working so hard for so many years, I have some success, and my assets is 1 billion less from Jack Ma. Jack Ma is 2,700 billions, and mine is 2,700. It's just less a billion. The billion.
已经少很多了。这个笑话对吗？
It's the right
如果你
joke.
感觉到对方很喜欢你，
If you find they really like you, 90% of the time is
如果你感觉到对方
wrong.
很讨厌你，
And if you feel
都是真的。
they dislike you, then 90% is correct. Is that true? 王太太跟金太太 Mrs. Wang and Mrs. Jin were
王太太讲
talking. Mrs. Wang
现在的
said,
年轻人真是
young people nowadays
代
are getting worse and worse.
16、7岁
16 or 17-year-old, and they already do bad things.
金太太讲，
And
不
Mrs.
见得
Jin said,
我倒觉得
not necessarily.
一代比一代
I find the younger generations are abiding more and more by the rules.
怎么说呢？
What do you mean?
金太太讲，
And she continued,
20年前，
20 years ago,
我老遇着年轻人在路上对着我吹口哨，
I find many young men
都很
whistling at me, but nowadays they never whistle at me anymore, the young people.
我们再讲一个吧。
Okay, let's share one more joke.
奇怪，这个笑话都不好笑。
These jokes are not so funny.
这个世界最浅薄的关系，就是
The
你没有随便就放掉你的
the least kind of relationship is that when you don't fulfill their wish, then they would forget about your good part.
好，不讲了。
That's not a joke. Okay, now let's discuss the Surangama Sutra.
这释迦牟尼佛
Sakyamuni Buddha
对阿难讲，
told Ananda,
阿难，若无明时，
Ananda,
名不见者，
if the absence of light is called not
若
seeing,
必见暗，
then you should not be able to see darkness.
云何
But if you can see darkness, though there is no light,
若在
how can it be said there is no seeing?
名为不见？
Ananda, if in darkness one cannot see brightness and call it not seeing, then right now in brightness you cannot see darkness.
如是
Should this be also
名不见？
called not seeing?
若
In
不
this
二相，
way, both states would be called not seeing. Furthermore,
见
if the two, brightness and darkness, displease each other, it is not that your seeing nature temporarily ceases in between. Thus, it is clear that both are still seeing. How could it be called not seeing? Therefore, Ananda, you must now understand.
见非
When you see brightness, the seeing is not the brightness. When you see darkness, the seeing is not the darkness. When you see emptiness, the seeing is not the emptiness.
见善，
When you see obstruction, the seeing is not the obstruction.
是一成就，
Accomplishing the four meanings.
见见
Furthermore, you should understand,
非是
when seeing perceives seeing,
有
the seeing is no longer ordinary seeing.
云何
True seeing transcends the act of seeing. It cannot be grasped by seeing
你
itself.
等生
How can you speak of it in terms of causation, spontaneity, or composite phenomena?
不经回你，
You, the Sravakas, are narrow-minded and shallow in wisdom, unable to penetrate the pure and ultimate reality. Now I admonish you, reflect thoroughly upon this. Do not grow weary or negligent on the wondrous path to enlightenment.
这个是根据上一次讲的，
This is based on what was talked about last
为
time.
什么看见呢？
Sakyamuni Buddha asked Ananda, why did you see? Why do you see?
看见
For the worldly people, what is the so-called
月
seeing?
光，
That's because there is sunlight or moonlight or lamplight. That's why you can see.
日光没有月光
But without the lights of the sun, the moon, or
就
lamps,
看不到。
then you will not be able to see.
阿难是这样子讲。
That's what Ananda said.
释迦牟尼佛
And Sakyamuni Buddha
就开始讲话，
started to speak
要把阿难讲一顿。
to admonish him.
如果我看不到光明，
If you can't see the
看不
light,
见，
that's not seeing.
但是因为看不见，你也看不到
When you
暗啊
can't see, then you should not be able to see darkness too.
这个不叫不见。
You should not be able to see darkness either.
当你看到暗的时候，看不到，
When you see darkness, you cannot see brightness.
这个也不叫不见。
And that is also not called not seeing.
叫不见。为什么？你
Why?
看到暗的时候没有看到光明啊？
Because when you see darkness, you don't see brightness.
这样听不知道听得懂听不懂？
Do you understand or not?
什么叫做不见？
So what is not seeing?
因为你没有光明，
Because there is no light.
这就是看不到吗？
Is that really not seeing?
看到暗吗？
Because even without light, you can see
当你
darkness.
看到暗的时候，看不到光明。
But when you see darkness, you cannot see brightness.
那什么叫做不见呢？
So what is not seeing?
若在暗时不见明，明为不见；在明的时候又看不到暗，
In brightness, you cannot see darkness.
这是两个
But
现象。
in darkness, you cannot see brightness.
其实
There are two phenomena. It should be not seeing.
二相自相邻夺，黑的、光明的跟黑暗
So,
在一起，
if the brightness and darkness mix with each other,
那你的见相是在中间呢？
Is your seeing in between?
如是，因为是这样子，则知二俱明见。
So, but it is clear that both are still seeing. How could it be called not seeing?
不见呢？
Actually, you can still see. Why do you say it's not seeing? So that's why, Ananda, you should know. When you see brightness,
看见不是光明，
the seeing is not the brightness. When you see darkness,
见呢不是暗。
the seeing is not the
看到空的
darkness.
时候啊，
When you see
看见不是
emptiness,
空，
the seeing is not the emptiness.
前面挡住的，
When you see obstruction,
便看到
the
的
seeing is not the obstruction.
这四种意义存在。
There are 4 kinds of meanings in this.
所有的
This way, you should know.
见会
When seeing
看到的
perceive
没有
seeing,
看到，见有离见，
what
看到的
what
离
the seeing is not seeing.
见不
So
能
the seeing is apart from seeing. So you really don't see.
因缘自然，所以不能讲那个
So how can you speak of it in terms of causes and conditions, or dependent arising, or self-arising, or composite phenomena?
和合相就是光明跟黑暗混合。
So composite phenomena is the mix of brightness and darkness.
本来就这样，
And self-arising is like that's how it is.
因为你看
And
到
dependent arising is because you see brightness, that's why you cannot see darkness. And you see darkness, you cannot see brightness.
释迦牟尼讲的，我们也
So we also don't understand what Sakyamuni Buddha says.
现在又要骂人了。
Now he's reprimanding.
他讲阿难，
He said, Ananda,
不可以讲
how can you speak of it in terms of dependent arising, self-arising, or composite phenomena?
也不是合，
So you can't say that the wondrous luminous true mind is dependent arising, self-arising, or composite phenomena.
这些声闻，
And then Sakyamuni Buddha started to reprimand you, the Sravakas, the practitioners of the lesser
就
vehicle,
没有见识，
are narrow-minded and shallow in wisdom.
狭小，劣就是很低级。
Lowly.
你们不能通达清净实相，你们不知
You
道
cannot penetrate the pure and ultimate reality.
不经回你。我现在
You cannot understand. Now I
想
admonish you,
善思维，
reflect thoroughly upon
如得
this.
愚见，
Do not grow weary
不能够
or negligent on the wondrous path to enlightenment.
啊，不修行了，
Don't
体的路上
grow weary or lazy and stop on the path to enlightenment. That's what this passage is about.
我实在是不太愿意跟着经文讲，
I really don't like to follow the sutra text, but I have to.
我们一般人的看见就是说，因为
The seeing of ordinary people is because of the sunlight. That's why you can see. Because of the
才
moon,
看见，
that's why you can see. And because of the lamps or lights, you can see.
阿难也是这样子。
That's just a typical mindset.
释迦牟尼我讲的看见
And also Ananda too.
是没有名相，
But seeing spoken by Sakyamuni Buddha has no form, names, or
也
phenomena.
不是暗相，
And it's not the phenomena
说有光
of darkness. It's not that you can see because of light, or because of darkness, or because of emptiness, or because of obstruction. It's not related to any of those. The true, wondrous, luminous, true mind is ever present, and it has no form and phenomena. It cannot be put into words. Ananda kept asking, and Sakyamuni Buddha kept explaining. But even after so long, he still could not understand. Okay, let's continue to read. Ananda said to the Buddha, he started to cry again. Sakyamuni Buddha, as the Buddha has taught us about causes and conditions, as well as self-existing nature, and about compounded and uncompounded phenomena, my mind remained unenlightened. Now hearing that perceiving seeing indicates that is not ordinary seeing, I feel even more confused and lost. So I earnestly beseech your great compassion to bestow upon us the eye of wisdom and reveal to us the luminous purity of the enlightened mind. Having said this, he bowed with tears of reverence, ready to receive the sacred teachings. So Ananda told Sakyamuni Buddha, like us, Sravakas, when we talk about causes and conditions, that's not right. And when we say it's self-arising, that's not right either. Talking about compounded phenomena, it's not right. And talking about uncompounded phenomena, also not right. So even after listening to that, the mind is still not enlightened. And now, hearing Sakyamuni Buddha talking about seeing, perceiving seeing is not seeing. So even if you see brightness, darkness, emptiness, obstruction, it is still not seeing. So perceiving seeing is not seeing. Now that adds to the confusion even more. So now hearing up to here, everybody still not understand, and Grandmaster too. So seeing is not seeing. So whether you see brightness, darkness, the sky or the walls, you have seen all this, but actually you still have not seen. And Ananda said, what's going on? He's even more confused. So Sakyamuni Buddha, please grant us your compassion and bestow upon us the wisdom eyes and teach us so that we can have a pure heart and mind and truly attain the wondrous luminous true mind. After saying this, Ananda wept with tears, bowed with reverence, and wished that Sakyamuni Buddha would give teaching so that we can be enlightened right away. That's what this piece means.
一个问一个答。
Question and answer.
比如今天呢
Like today, you ask our
什么是
Master,
妙明真心？
what is the wondrous luminous true mind?
什么是明心见性？
What is the true understanding of the mind and seeing the Buddha nature?
什么是开悟？
What is enlightenment?
如果有人问你什么是开悟，
If someone asks you, what is enlightenment? What is the wondrous luminous true mind?
什么是明心见性？
And what is the true understanding of the mind and seeing the Buddha nature? If they ask you, then you do this.
不讲话就对了。
It's right when you don't say anything. As soon as you open your mouth, that would be wrong.
因为上回在彩虹雷上是讲过了，
Because I've said it at the Rainbow Temple.
开一切名相，
Because this thing is
那个相
independent of all forms and phenomena. No names, no phenomena.
太深奥。
It's too profound.
有人跟我讲，知道了。
And someone told me, I know, that's
心电感应是名词，
it's it's like a psychic ability, but that's a name.
那是就是很多名词也不过是一种形容。
Those are all just
正觉，
name, like Anuttaraya Samyak Sambodhi.
无上正等正觉，这个也是名词。
But that's too, it's just a
如
name.
果谁能够形容什么叫做无上正等正觉？
Anyone can describe the Anuttara Samyak
谁
Sambodhi.
能够知道什么叫阿耨多罗三藐三菩提？
Anyone knows what is the unexcelled right equality and right realization.
所以他们议论这个东西啊，
So the discussion about this, where did the Surangama Sutra come
人
from?
讲《楞严经》
Some people say
密宗，
that Surangama Sutra came from the Tantric Buddhism
为什
division.
么？
Why?
因为它有楞严宗，
Because
出自密宗，
there is the
不是出自密宗，是三论宗，
because of the Surangama mantra.
论来论去，
And then some people say it's from the three treatise school because they kept discussing
就是龙树的
that
这个
belongs to the
12门论
12 doors, the treatise to 12 doors, to the middle way, and 100 treatises.
有人讲说
Those are the three treatises schools. And some people say, no, 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 it is Yogacara. It talks about consciousness. So consciousness only school.
眼耳鼻舌身
The eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind.
这个
And the deepest.
再来呢，再进去
And then deeper.
摩那，摩那是阿难
Mula consciousness alaya.
好的无后世，有没有
And
讲
then the immaculate consciousness.
有人讲说像禅宗，
And some people say it's
不是
like
禅宗，
Zen Buddhism, but it's not Zen Buddhism.
到最后，他们讲说是密宗部。
And lastly, they say it comes from the Tantric Buddhist school because of the Surangama mantra.
所以这部经很难讲。
So the sutra is very difficult to
当初
expound.
是谁叫我讲？
So who asked me to expound on the sutra?
不知道是哪一个人叫我讲，居然叫我讲《楞严经》。
Who asked me?
原来那么难讲。
It turned out to be very difficult. If I knew who asked me to do this,
我也不能怎么样。
there's nothing I can do anyway.
我也不能给他做杠头。
I cannot cast a spell on her.
想一想，
But thinking about it,
是我自己要讲的。
it's myself who wanted to talk about it.
很麻烦的这部经， 从头到尾就是阿
The sutra is quite
这
troublesome.
两个在变来变去。
From the beginning to the end, it's just a discussion of Ananda and Sakyamuni Buddha talking about discussing the wondrous luminous true mind, about the Anuttara Sambodhi, discussing enlightenment and the unexcelled right equality and right realization.
这是最深的了。
So this is the most profound. So it's very difficult to expound.
这世间法就是
Not like worldly dharma about loyalty, uprightness,
不是世间法，
about honor, glory, about cause and effect, causes and conditions, about karma, also about naturalness or self-arising or compounded or composite phenomena.
楞严
And
它就是唯一，
but in Surangama Sutra, it talks about
没有第二，只有一。
one and only. There's no others, no second ones, no others, just one.
像
And this one has no forms, no names, no phenomena.
看看有没有好笑的笑话。
Let me see if there are some funny jokes.
这个病人对医生讲：“医生啊，我是不是
The patient told the doctor, Doctor,
不是
am I
就是
getting a depression? And the doctor said, no.
上班的正常情绪。
That's a normal attitude or normal situation from regular work. Is that the case? Not necessarily.
你的病
Some illnesses, depression is an illness,
是一种病，
and OCD is also an
躁
illness.
郁症就是我们讲躁郁症
We say OCD can kill
是
people,
会自杀。
but depression can make you kill oneself,
活着
yourself.
要在躁郁跟
So
这个
we must live
之间，
in the middle of depression and OCD.
那个就是什么相？叫和相。
And what is that called? It's called a compounded phenomena or the middle way. So don't be so compulsive, but don't also be so depressed. Just in the middle.
所以你必须要控
That's
制
called the middle view, the middle way, the middle view. So you need to control your own moods,
也不要太低，
not too high and not too low.
就是情绪的控制。
So controlling your own moods.
小明对他的朋友讲。
Xiaoming told his friend, I want to get divorced because my wife hasn't spoken to me for a month. And the friend said, oh, think carefully. It's very difficult to find a woman that doesn't talk very much nowadays. Xiaoming told his friend, when you buy furniture, you need to buy the best kind of sofa. And the friend asked, why? And Xiaoming said, man should have this realization, like when you have arguments, the sofa will be your bed. When the emperor is playing around, yeah, okay, this is a different name, different idioms, like if an emperor being a womanizer, they're called really nicely, but if it's for commoner, then it would be called really differently. Those are all worldly dharma, related to the world. At that time, the world-honored one, out of compassion for Ananda and the great assembly, prepared to expound the great Dharani and the wondrous path of Samadhi practice. He said to Ananda, although you have strong memory and have heard much, your mind has not yet penetrated the subtle contemplative illumination of samatha. Now listen attentively. I will explain clearly to you, so that you and all future beings still bound by defilements may attain the fruit of Buddhi. Ananda, all sentient beings transmigrate through the cycle of existence due to two inverted and deluded views which arise in the moment and propel the wheel of karma. What are these two views? First, the deluded view arising from individual karma, and second, the deluded view shared collectively by beings. So, we talked about reincarnation earlier. So, at this time, Sakyamuni Buddha was very compassionate to Ananda and the great assembly. So prepared to expound the great Dharani. What is Dharani? It's mantra. So the Drasilamu's mantra? Namo Tong Tong Za Za Soha. 这个就是扎基拉姆的真言。That's the mantra of Drasilamu. Guru Padmasambhava's mantra, or true words. So he is about to expound the great Dharani, which is the Surangama mantra,
如何进入三摩地
and the Samadhi, how to enter
入
Samadhi.
三摩地妙修行路
The,
这个修
the
行
wondrous cultivation
非
path
常的微妙，
of Samadhi.
还告诉
It is really marvelous.
虽强记
He said to Ananda, although you have strong memory and have heard much,
但只是多闻多听了，
so
听的
having strong memory, it's just that you heard more than others,
意犹未了，
but your mind
入三昧
has not yet penetrated the subtle contemplative of samadhi.
看自己的心，
So when you enter samadhi, when you observe or contemplate on your own mind or everything, it's
今天好好的听，
still,
我
you're still very far
也开始
from it. So now listen attentively. I will explain clearly to you
破菩提果，
so that you and all future beings
走修行路的人，
still bound by defilements may attain the fruit of puti.
菩提不上正等正，
So spiritual cultivators can attain the Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi.
轮回世界
Ananda, all sentient beings
所有的众生
transmigrate through the cycle of existence
是因为
due to two
是因为有妄见，
inverted and deluded views.
离开正的，是看到
That's
想的
a
不对，
part of the right
正
views.
见，你离开正见，
So all incorrect views, it's different from the right views.
在世间中
That's why they're called deluded views.
健忘，看到
So
那个不
worldly people are inverted and deluded, and they don't have the right view,
当夜轮转，
which arise in the moment and propel the wheel of karma. And because you have inverted views, you have inverted thoughts, and then you created wrong acts, and then you create karma, and then you have reincarnations.
业妄见，一个是别业，
Like I said, there are two
你
kinds.
个人做的
One
恶业，
is
一个就是共同
arising from individual karma, and second is shared collectively by beings.
大家一起做。
So created by
一般来
everyone.
讲，这个饥荒、战争
So generally speaking, famine, wars,
这三个东西
epidemic are worse. These three wars,
是共同共业。
that's collective karma.
饥荒，最
Famine,
虚的人都没东西吃，
that
这是
the
饥荒，
people in that part
这也
of
是共业。
the area have nothing to eat. That's also collective
是
karma.
像那个
Epidemic,
COVID-19 一样，在流行
or
的
like
时候，
COVID-19,
很多人都走，
when it was
那是共业。
severe, many people died, and that's due to collective karma.
那别业，什么叫做别业？
And what is the individual karma? Karma created by the individuals.
就是别业。释迦牟尼有
That's
讲，业
individual
上
karma.
一个是共业。
So Sakyamuni Buddha said there are two kinds of
会从事
karma.
轮回呢？
Why one is
轮回，
reincarnated, or why
别业
does one transmigrate in the rebirth cycle? It's either due to individual karma or collective
正
karma.
念正见。
That's why you have to have the right view,
我们
right
三
thoughts,
七到底是
and the so-called Eightfold Noble path, and the 37 aids to enlightenment, the 4 right exertions, 4-fold mindfulness, 5 powers, 5 roots, 7 branches of realization, and 8-fold noble path. If you walk the 8-fold noble path, then you have the right thought. But if you don't walk the 8-fold noble path, then that's incorrect. That's incorrect thought. We will continue next time. The Surangama Sutra is not very easy to expound. It's just like writing a thesis. And some people say it's a debate, but it's not. It's the questions asked by someone who does not know, and Sakyamuni Buddha answered. But Ananda just heard and listened, but he did not cultivate. He had no results from his cultivation. Like spiritual cultivation has to enter samadhi. Only then it's called the true spiritual cultivation. The single-pointedness is something you have to experience, and you need to experience it from the single-pointedness in samadhi. There are 2 most difficult things in the world. One is to place your own thinking into other people's brains, and second is to place other people's money into our pockets. If you succeed in the first one, you're called a teacher or grandmaster. If you succeed in the second part, you're called a boss. And if one succeeds in both, then you're called a wife. To place your own thinking into other people's brains and to place other people's money into your own pocket. And then if they succeed in both, they're called wives. Xiaoming came to work with swollen red eyes, and the classmate asked, "What's going on? What happened to your eyes?" Xiaoming said, "On the way to work, I walk on the street, and the skirt of a lady was blown by the wind. And I was kind-hearted and then pulled up her skirt, and then she punched me. And how about on the other eyes?" And I thought she didn't like that, so I pulled up her skirt. She didn't like that I pulled down her skirt. Now I pull it up. So whether you pull it up or down, it's wrong. So what's right is if you don't do anything, just don't worry about it. That would be right. 我 money pay me home.